Megan Fox.
And Megan Fox has the story.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox writes at PJ Media.
Eat Tucker.
And that was your last.
Damn it, man. I cried for 2 days.
Megan, thank you very much for that.
So, I can explain the bed thing.
If you don't show up and vote, up your ass. I don't care if you're in the hospital. Crawl to the stake. Crawl there.
It's like Jesus going to the temple. He's like, I got a whip. Get out! Get out! The lovely and wonderful Megan Fox. Not that one.
Not that one. Not the weird one that drinks blood in his toe thumbs.
Megan Fox.
Megan. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. She's the devil.
Megan Fox. Megan Fox.
I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me, but I wouldn't do that.
You've never met a like me. You want to tangle? You want to go? Holy sh!
Too much cussing on this. I guess we didn't bleep it, so we got to turn it off. But it's
You pissed off the wrong woman.
oh my God, I have been assaulted, but Megan Fox runs wild on you, brother.
She's the devil.
Not for publication.
The story.
I'm Megan Fox. Thank you. Cheers.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the program. I'm Megan Fox, investigative journalist, author, mother, and I just realized I forgot to put makeup on. God, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've got 2 sick kids at home, and I just can't remember these things. I guess I should put on some lip gloss or something. Maybe some cheek color. My God. Well, I look like walking death. What's happening here? All right. Here's the thing. It sounds like some of you complaining about the intro would like to have a longer one, perhaps. Every time somebody complains about the intro, I add 30 seconds. Just letting you know. Okay, there we go. That's better. Look, some color in the face, maybe. That would help. So Valentine's Day was yesterday. Mr. Fox got me some beautiful new jewelry. He got me some beautiful necklaces. I wore one last night. I was on so many streams last night. It's weird. Sometimes when I get invited to do these things, it happens all at once. So my night last night, if you want to catch up on what happened, I was on with Tug, and mysteriously YouTube took our stream down, or it looks like it's not there, but he's re-uploading it. I don't think they took it down. I think something just happened to it. So he's going to put it back up. We were talking about the new attack by corporate media on Tug, that umbrella guy. There is going to be a new podcast, a series, a podcast. The media, the mainstream media cannot accept the fact that Amber Heard lost her defamation suit. They can't accept it. And because they can't accept it, they continue to look for a scapegoat. They continue to look for, Helene, I know it says it's not available, but Tug is re-uploading it right now. So it's going to be available soon. So just keep checking his channel. So anyway, it's amazing to me that the media just cannot accept what happened in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. And so they continue to look for someone to blame. And there's going to be a several part podcast by some British BBC podcasting group. God, I have a lot of grays. I need to go get my hair done. My grays are just like taking over. And it's going to be about, it's a hit piece on Tug and the other YouTubers that covered the trial and didn't agree with the mainstream press. And it's incredible to me that they keep doing this. So they sent Tug this ridiculous press inquiry where they're accusing him of, I don't know, being a good journalist. That's all I could come up with. So last night on Tug's stream, he and I read through their press inquiry, and then I read the press inquiry that I sent the journalist who's going to do this hit piece on Tug. And my press inquiry to him went totally unanswered. So they don't like it when you turn the tables back around on them. They don't like it when other journalists want to know why they're doing what they do. And it was really funny and entertaining. So when Tug re-uploads that, make sure you go and check that out. And then after that, I was invited last minute to go on Chrissy Mayer last night. Chrissy had a show last night about Tom MacDonald and Tom MacDonald striking content creators with copyrights who were just helping him promote his new song and helping him get to #1. And it happened to me 3 times. Every time I would, because you guys know how much I love Ben Shapiro rapping, and every time that I would go over the song with you guys on this live stream, I would get a copyright. Now, I beat it every time because I know how, but not everybody does. And some of these small content creators, you know, why does Tom MacDonald need the $5 or the $7 they make on a video? And so Chrissy, you know, took a chance last night and spoke out against this and what's happening. And I hope that Tom MacDonald responds in some actual way and stops doing this. So you guys should check that out. That was last night's Chrissy Mayer's live stream. I was on for a little while, just at around 9:30 p.m. I was on for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. And then I had to jump over to Danya on Direct because she was having a Valentine's Day stream that she had invited me to before Chrissy wanted me to come in. So I had to quickly go over there. I ended up streaming for 4 hours last night when you include Tug, Chrissy Mayer, and Danya on Direct. Now, Danny's show was so good. For all of you following the Clayton Echard, Laura Owens paternity nightmare, I have been trying to get Danya on Direct to cover this story since it began because Danny's a lawyer and her specialty is family law. And I knew that she would just love this story. And I got to introduce it to her last night. It was perfect for Valentine's Day, especially because it was the alleged due date of the Tonsil Twins. So you've got to go and see that. That was last night's live stream on Danya on Direct. And then we also discussed, Ari Jacobs was there. We discussed some dating and love stuff that got really interesting. It was really interesting. It was really fun. And don't miss Danny's public service announcements while we were reading through Greg Woodnick's latest motion because, oh my God, she had me rolling. You guys have to see it. You have to see it. It was so good. All right. So anyway, Reality Steve has interviewed a psychologist, and not just any psychologist, but a psychologist who actually was on Laura Owens' podcast twice. And this psychologist, Dr. Sanders, is it Sanders? Hold on. Let me make sure I've got her name correctly here. Catherin Sanderson. She was on Laura Owens' podcast, and she has also been following this story, so she knows what's going on. Tug says he's going to, don't worry, Tug said he's going to re-upload it and make it available. So just give it some more time. It'll fix. So anyway, Dr. Catherin Sanderson is a psychologist. She's an author, and she was on with Reality Steve on his podcast today. And I have linked that podcast in the description of this video. And I would urge all of you to please go to the description and click on it so that he gets the downloads for this podcast. I'm not going to play the entire thing. I want you to listen to it over there, but I do have some things to respond to that the doctor talked about. And I was really excited for this interview, and the way it went, there were some parts of it that I liked and some parts of it that I really have a problem with. And so I want to talk about that. So let's bring that up. By the way, for those of you who have not yet downloaded my podcast, subscribe to my new podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon. It's called Fox Den Daily, and there are 4 episodes, and I am already on track, you guys, and I'm so thankful to all of you for helping me get it there, but I'm already on track to hit the threshold for monetization in 1 month. The Simplecast, where I'm streaming it, had thought it would take me about 2 months to get there, but it looks like I'm going to get there a lot faster than that because of you guys. So please make sure you go and subscribe to my podcast. It has been a lot of fun, and I will be recording another one today, episode 5 or 4. Episode 4. There are 3 episodes up. This will be 4. Okay. Where is my tab that I'm looking for? Oh yeah, here. Okay. All right, we need to go to the 36-minute mark here. By the way, I've got to get in contact with Steve. I would really like to have him on the show. And yeah, so I'm going to reach out to him very shortly.
Okay, so before
okay, and then I was on again, and
other, which is kind of fascinating of itself. Curious to know what you think of Laura Owens, and I want to throw this caveat out there for people that don't know. You actually went on Laura's podcast back in 2019, the podcast that she has with her mother, which is kind of fascinating of itself.
I actually think I was on twice.
Oh, you were? Okay, were you on after that or before that?
I was on for the first time in 2019.
Okay.
And then I was on again. And how I remember that is they asked me to be on like sometime during COVID. So I'm going to say maybe like summer. I don't remember, but I think maybe summer of 2020.
For those of you who don't know, Laura Owens and her mother, Jan Black, have a podcast, and it's about mental health. Surprisingly enough, it's about mental health.
Asked me to return.
Okay, so before we get into anything that happened on those, your armchair psychology professor breakdown, psychoanalyzation of Laura Owens from everything that you have gathered from this case for the last 8 months.
So, I mean, my predominant feeling, and this is honestly not as a psychology professor, but as a person, is I feel really sad for her because I think she must be struggling at such a fundamental core level to have the sense that people wouldn't want to date her, wouldn't want to continue to date her unless she really could ensnare them in some way. And that could be ensnaring them with a pregnancy, or it could be ensnaring them with threats of self-harm. But
I have a real problem with this, that her takeaway is to feel sad for her. I think this is a very dangerous way to look at it. Because what Owens has done to several men, not just Clayton Echard, but what she has done should rise to the criminal level. It is the definition of stalking, cyber stalking, harassment, emotional and psychological damage, including Dave Neal, what she's done to Dave. I don't feel sad for her. And I think it's a big mistake to feel sad for her, because why is it that we don't feel sad for males who engage in this behavior? Our society does not feel empathy and sadness for a man who engages in this behavior. Not even close. What we do is we put handcuffs on them and put them in jail. And I have several examples of that that I'll show you in a minute. Let's listen to the rest of this. At least some of the rest of her. She's not really going to get into what she thinks is the underlying psychological problem. I don't know if she's worried about that for legal reasons or what, but I mean, it's not like this isn't done all the time. Psychologists do this to Donald Trump. They do it to presidents, public figures all the time, where they say, well, I'm not his treating physician, but here's what I think his mental disorder is. She would be perfectly covered to say what she thinks it is. So yeah, I think this is kind of a cop-out.
To me, my predominant feeling is really about sadness, because the level at which somebody must feel about themselves to go to such extraordinary lengths is just really sad.
Would you say that about a man who goes to extraordinary lengths to stalk and harass a woman? Would you feel sad for his low self-esteem that led him to these things? It's unethical for psychologists or psychiatrists to make a diagnosis. It's not unethical for them to say, these are the things it could be. Here are some of the things that it looks like, you know? It's not unethical for them to say, here's some symptoms that I see, you know?
It is. And in my dealings with her, Dave's dealings with her, Clayton's dealings with her, it is somebody that clearly has shown, and this isn't just obviously an opinion out of thin air. This is stuff that she has emailed to us. And as the case has gone on, we've seen more and more emails that she sent Clayton at the beginning of this quote unquote relationship, which it wasn't. It was a hookup.
The Goldwater rule is about whether it's admissible in court. So it wouldn't be admissible in court if a psychologist or a psychiatrist diagnosed someone they had never seen, right? That's why that Dr. Spiegel's testimony was so ridiculous about Johnny Depp. He had never treated him, and yet he was diagnosing him from clips he saw of him on the news and from parts he played in movies. You know, you can't testify to that in court, but you can certainly say it in the media. You can certainly say, I think this is what I saw.
That Clayton basically regretted the very next day, but her mind triggered this into, I mean, to see someone send someone a dating contract after a one-night hookup and a blowjob is so bizarre to me. And just the continuation of it, and her whole MO and her emails to not only Clayton, but to these other guys that we have now found out about, it always seems to be something where she says in an email, well, I'm doing, you know, if I don't hear from you, and she always leaves some sort of timestamp, by tomorrow, by the end of the week, then I'm going to have to move forward with some sort of veiled threat, like I'm going to file suit. And it's just like, there is something inherently wrong with someone who is constantly doing that. That's not right.
Yeah, there is something inherently wrong. He's trying to get her to explain like what could be wrong with her. Yeah, the Goldwater rule is about diagnosing people you haven't treated. That's true. You can't diagnose them, but you can say, here are some of the things that I see that are similar to this disorder or that disorder, and it could be A or B or C. You can say that. And she avoids it. Dr. Sanderson avoids it.
No, and it's someone who is so lacking in self-esteem.
Stop it with the lacking in self-esteem. People who have poor self-esteem do not stalk and harass people. Like, you can have low self-esteem and you don't become a psychopathic stalker. This to me is such a cop-out. I don't like this at all. And it gives her pity in this pity party that she's looking for. La Jordan says, I feel like letting women off the hook is infantilizing. Women are capable of being awful people. Yeah, that's what my book is about. That is exactly what my book is about. Believe evidence, not women. The death of due process from Salome to #MeToo. It's about how some women can be awful. Have you ever watched Snapped? You know, where of all the women who have murdered, this is, women are capable of being awful. I also think it's more pity than true empathizing for her, maybe. But I don't pity. I don't feel pity for someone who does this to other people. Lois Thomas says, this psychologist is giving Laura the pity she is looking for. Poor Laura. Give me a break. She's a criminal, not a victim. Right. And if she were a man, I'm telling you, no psychologist would say, I feel sad for him, that his self-esteem is so low. Boy, does this put the bar for women at a low level. I mean, good Lord. Bex, I should be on Google Podcasts. If you have searched for Fox Den Daily on Google and you're not finding it, that's weird, because I'm pretty sure it should be there. I've never listened to a podcast on Google, so I don't know where to actually even look for that. But it should be there. It should be. I'll find out from Simplecast if it's, you know, where to look for it. Yeah, Lois Thomas says this is the same as excusing people that kill because of a crappy childhood. Yeah, it's lots of people have crappy childhoods and they don't go on to murder people. I don't like this. It's like giving her an excuse somehow for this behavior, and again, not holding her personally accountable for what she's done.
That she doesn't have the feeling that somebody would want to date her just because of who she is, right? It has to be that you're dating me so that I won't sue you. You're dating me so that I'll agree to have an abortion. You're dating me so I won't call your parents. Like, whatever it is, the idea that somebody doesn't feel good enough about themselves to say, you know, you should date me because you want to date me, not because it's in a contract or because I'm going to get a lawyer involved if you don't. I mean, at that level, I think if any of us had a friend or, you know, a niece or a child who was in that situation, you would, you know, grab them by their shoulders and say, hey, you know, have some self-respect, and, you know, somebody should date you because you're wonderful, not because you've picked them, right?
Well, and everything that you have seen and followed in this case, and it's not like you have any sort of relationship with her or her mother. You went on their podcast twice. I don't think you probably ever spoke to them outside of that, right?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking at it now from the outside, a lot of people have brought into the fact that where is her family in all this? Where are her friends in all this? How is nobody ever stepping in and being like, Laura, you can't just keep taking people to court? And clearly her mother, I would think at least, knows about this. There seems to be some form of enabling here. There has to be, because even in the conversation we saw with Clayton and her mother's email to Clayton, you're just...
Okay, I'm going to skip this part. You guys can listen to this on your own, because basically the doctor basically says, well, we don't know what she's telling her mother. At this point, if her mother has not kept up on the news about her own daughter and seen the evidence that has been presented by Dave Neal, by me, by Legal Vices, by Reality Steve, there's no excuse for that. So saying that we don't know what Laura has told her family, it doesn't matter what Laura has told her family. Her parents have a responsibility to know, to understand what's going on. IT Goatee has found that it's not set up on Google. That could be my fault, but we will get that squared away and get that done. I must not have set up an account, so I will do that. I think I was supposed to do that, and I failed. I did Apple and Spotify and Amazon, but I didn't even know about Google. So, okay, let's skip past this answer because I think.
But what we haven't seen is what she's telling her mother.
Yeah, don't care.
You know, when I kind of look at this, and I've looked at everything, and you know, the emails that I've had with her back and forth back between September and about a month ago, you know, I just, you know, I shake my head at some of the things that she says, and I just don't understand how somebody can just continually deny something that is so obviously not true. You know, that she's just a constant, you know, she's a compulsive liar and just will not give in. Just out of curiosity, are you in the agreement that she should just, as hard as it is going to be for her to ever admit she's wrong and did something wrong here, I was just curious if you were under the same sentiment that I was, that her best course of action in all of this is just to be like, you know what, I made it all up, and just take your lumps, whatever that may be from the courts.
That's never going to happen.
Whatever that may, if it means jail time, unfortunately, that's what it means.
And it's not going to mean jail time.
But is that a route? If I don't know if you were her, but or if you were advising her, is that a route you would suggest?
So I think it is the best route, with one caveat. I think it's the best route with the assumption that I think you're under and I'm under and Dave Neal's, you know, under, et cetera, that eventually the truth is going to come out. So, I mean, I think we all believe eventually the truth is going to come out, that you did make it all up, because, you know, ultimately you're not going to be able to produce a fetal death certificate or, you know, an ultrasound from an actual pregnancy that was yours, you know, et cetera. But I think the challenge is, I don't think she knows yet that the truth is going to come out. I mean, again, her lawyer saying, oh, we should just dismiss it because she's no longer pregnant. So, you know, hey, it's all good, you know, no harm, no foul. And so I think the challenge is for her psychologically, she is still in the, I don't know that the truth is going to come out. So to the extent that she believes there is a chance that she won't ultimately found to be a liar, I think she's kind of like trying to play the odds. And I think that's why she didn't show up for the deposition. And I think her hope has to be it's going to get dismissed. Clayton's going to run out of money. You know, people are going to get tired of the story. It's going to go away. I'm going to get my 18th lawyer and they're going to, you know, find this magic potion. So I think that's the challenge. I think that she would do that if she believed that otherwise the truth was going to come out, because you'd rather be able to say, hey, let me spin it my way, as opposed to it be found that she's a liar. But again, I don't think she knows yet that the truth is going to come out.
So she's basically just holding out hope. She's holding out hope that
yeah.
This is,
yeah.
I'm never going to.
I agree with this. She's going to stick it out to the bitter end, to the very bitter end, until she can't go anymore. That's how this is. That's what's happening here. I agree with that part. Yeah.
Going to have to be taken to task for what I did here, which is what a lot of people believe. And a lot of people, I didn't even want to say believe at this point. I think we all know this woman was never pregnant. That's what Clayton's lawyers are arguing. Not only that, no, she was never pregnant by him. She was never pregnant to begin with. And, you know, she just carried it out for 7 months. I don't understand, you know, why. I don't know any sort of the legal ramifications of all this, because there's so many things that have happened under oath that it's just like, God, it seems like she's done so many lies under oath. And I know that's not good and that's a bad thing to do, but I don't know what penalties are for lying under oath.
Oh, you sweet summer child, Steve. There are no penalties for lying under oath. There will be no consequences for her lying under oath. For one, Clayton has already been told by law enforcement and elected officials that they do not go after women for doing this, because they don't want real victims to be scared to come forward, lest they be accused of making it up. So she has cover. Not to mention that our judicial system doesn't take perjury seriously at all. No one gets charged for perjury. Very, very rare does this happen. People lie under oath all the time, and it's getting worse and worse because there is no real consequence for it. You think the court system that is still backed up since COVID, years, they're backed up years. You think they want to clog up the system with some more trials about perjury? Nah, brah, not going to happen. They're not going to do that. And there is very little hope that she will be, and she knows this. She's been engaging in perjury for years. Now, I agree with Goody Gumdrops here, who says, I think this qualifies for felony stalking. Could he file a complaint? I'm not sure if he has tried to go that route. I know he did get a harassment order against her. But I believe that the prosecution declined to go after her, I think, in the Gillespie case because of this whole issue with we don't want real victims to not come forward because we prosecuted this one. But she's not a victim. I don't know why they would worry about that. She's literally the abuser. If she were a man, she'd be in jail by now. She would be in jail. In fact, let me write down what timestamp we're at, because as soon as I click off of this, it's going to go back to the beginning, 45:49. And let me take you to this article right here. Here's a perfect example. Memorial man arrested after sending more than 2,000 aggressive emails to neighbors, deputies say. Harris County, Texas. A Memorial man is charged with harassing communication and terroristic threat after he sent more than 2,000 emails to more than 200 of his neighbors, the Harris County Precinct 5 Constable's office said. Christopher Eustace, 30, allegedly began sending the emails last year, including several mass emails to more than 200 people in the Yorkshire neighborhood where he lives with his parents. It's another one who lives with his parents. One of the recipients provided Eyewitness News with copies of 5 emails that deputy constables say had an aggressive tone. That's it, an aggressive tone. Wouldn't you say that her emails have an aggressive tone? Most of the emails center around Eustace's time as a student at Meadowwood Elementary and Spring Forest Middle School, where he said he was bullied and physically assaulted. He also complains about a prom date bailing on him in high school. This dude got arrested for sending complaining emails about getting dumped. This community took everything from me and owes me everything. I was abused and neglected into mental illness, prosecutor said he wrote in an email. Gee, that sounds a lot like Laura's emails, doesn't it? In another email referenced in court documents, Eustace allegedly wrote, 2024 is going to be known as my ultimate revenge tour. He also references a mass shooting and claims he owns more than 100 guns. The emails prompted Spring Branch ISD police to issue multiple emails to parents. Though no specific threats have been made, we understand the individual has expressed grievances against this elementary and middle school. So he's been arrested. He says, I believe I'm an inverted codependent narcissist. Imagine being the smartest, hardest working, and most physically attractive person in almost every room you find yourself in, yet you're always being denied love and friendship. Boy, that sounds like someone we know. So this man is being held on a $45,000 bond. And his parents are refusing to bail him out. Well, good for them. Good for them for not bailing him out. I feel like Laura's parents would bail her out. But why is it that this man is sitting in jail? This was on February 8th. Why is he in jail? But Laura Owens, police won't look at her. They'll do nothing about this. It's because she is a woman and her victims are men. And this is why I am so determined to continue talking about the damage women can do and why believing women is a stupid, stupid concept from the beginning. It is flawed and stupid for this very reason, because men are unfairly discriminated against in these cases. We do not view men as victims of abuse by women. We don't think it's possible. Law enforcement doesn't think it's possible. Law enforcement laughs at men who say they're being abused by a woman or stalked and harassed by a woman. And yet women can do horrifying, terrible things. Yeah. Awful. It's awful. Oh, by the way, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 30,000 subscribers. And on Locals, please make sure you hit that thumbs up and not Locals, I meant Rumble. Hit the thumbs up and hit that join button so you can join my Locals page, meganfox.locals.com. Very shortly here, I'm going to be doing, I think I'm going to do a freezer meal stream on Locals, because I have so much going on that I'm never getting, like, I don't have a plan for dinner. So I need to do some meal planning. So I think we're going to do that on Locals soon, do some meal planning and do a cooking day where we do freezer meals again, because that's always fun. But you got to sign up. If you want to sign up right now on meganfox.locals.com, it's only $5 a month, and you can get 2 months free when you use promo code Tonsil Twins and sign up for a year. And it's less than a latte at Starbucks a month. And you get all kinds of fun stuff there. We do cleaning streams and cooking streams, and sometimes we watch stuff on YouTube together, or we listen to podcasts together. And we have live chats every single day, which are so much fun. And in fact, that's going on right now. The live chat is open. I forgot to open it on my screen, though. How you doing over there, Locals? How's it going? Is everybody in the chat? Shoot, I have to refresh my live chat again. All right, just so you know, I did report yeah, there you are. Ha There's Locals. How are my meme farmers doing? Do we have any memes for today yet? Yes, we do. This is funny. All right, hold on. Oh, wait. I need to share window. Okay. Locals has made a fraud frog with Laura's face on it. Nice alliteration, Locals. I like it. I like it. Good job. All right, let's get back over to the interview with Reality Steve and the psychologist, Dr. Sanderson.
But my question now becomes to you, and this might be too heavy of a question, but it's where I've come to when I think about Laura and what needs to happen going forward. I'll just ask you, do you think someone like this needs to be institutionalized?
Yes.
I mean, currently she's not a threat to herself or someone else in terms of physical harm. I mean,
how does she know this? Like, how do you know that she's not, she's not a threat to someone else until she is. She's not a threat until she is. And we don't know what will flip that switch. I don't like the way this is going. I don't like the escalation that is happening in this case. I would be very concerned if I were law enforcement around this case. And I don't know why law enforcement isn't concerned. Let me show you something. Let me show you this. Let's look at Laura Owens' history with police. Starting in, and we don't know how far back this goes. This has just come from a FOIA from someone that, on Reddit. You have to ask for specific dates. And this one starts off in 2021. We're in July here of 2021. In July, there are 2 calls to her home for harassment of 2021. On 8/13, so in August, there are of the same year, 2 more calls, one for a civil standby and one for threats. In November of the same year, there are 3 calls, one that just says information, the next one says harassment, and then a supplemental report. Look at how many calls. 2022, in February, 2 calls, violation of a court order, more information. Look at April, another call, a 911 welfare check. Here's in August, 2 calls, emergency, 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 emergency. Look at all these calls. January, February, April, June, July, August, more welfare checks, September, harassment of 2023. Now we move into 2023. Look at this. 911 welfare check in September, violation of order of protection. October, harassment, violation of order of protection, violation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 calls in October of 2023. 2 calls in November, harassment, welfare checks. December, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 calls in December. And actually, this isn't even all of it because she made some in January too. This is concerning. This should make any law enforcement very concerned. And I don't know how you could look at this and say she's not a danger to herself or anyone else. This is dangerous right here. This is dangerous behavior. If this were a man, he'd be in prison already. I disagree completely that she is not a danger to herself or anyone else. For one, she has made repeated threats that she will harm herself if people don't do what she says. Now, whether that is manipulation or she actually has those thoughts, that says danger to herself at the very least. And what are we waiting for here? Are we waiting for her to harm herself or someone else before someone does something? This is why, when we talk about self-defense in this country and why Americans are so determined to hold on to their guns, it's because the police really only exist to come and clean up the mess. They will not do anything for you until it's too late. There is nothing that they will do until you're dead on the floor, bleeding out. And even then, what's the saying? When seconds count, police are minutes away. And it's not necessarily their fault, but it just is the way it is. So what are we waiting for here? We're waiting for her to pick up a gun and shoot someone or hurt herself. And this, Lois Thomas, the lone wolf, the known wolf theory. We had her on our radar, FBI, and they do. So they have these people who they're watching, but can't do anything about until they actually pick up a gun and hurt somebody or a knife or whatever. So I would be very nervous to say she's not a danger to herself or anyone else. I don't think that's true at all. This woman has more red flags than a beach on an undertow day. This is a lot of red flags. Yeah. Like last night, I just watched Lover, Stalker, Killer on Netflix. Do you know about this? Do you know about this documentary? Let's pull that up, shall we? Lover, Stalker, Killer, real life fatal attraction, Nebraska love triangle turns deadly. Now, if you don't want a spoiler alert for the documentary, then you might want to tune out or turn the volume down for a few minutes. But definitely watch the Netflix documentary because it's unbelievable. I was riveted all night last night. I was riveted. Dave Krupa who tells his story in the new Netflix documentary Lover, Stalker, Killer, never expected that a woman he met online would harass him for years. Leaving for work around 6:30 a.m. on a chilly fall morning in 2012, Omaha auto repair shop manager Dave Krupa said goodbye to Carrie Farver, a single mother he had been dating for 2 weeks. Farver, who planned to head to work at a telecommunications company, had made it clear she wasn't looking for a serious relationship. So later that morning, when Krupa received a text message from her, "Do you want to move in together now?" it came as a puzzling surprise. I was like, what the hell? Recalls Krupa 47, who was busy at work and wrote a dismissive reply. That apparently uncorked a well of anger in Farver, who replied, "I hate you. You ruined my life. I never want to see you again. All morning, my text messages were pinging, 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 and it's all this nasty stuff," says Krupa, who was annoyed, but also relieved to have discovered so quickly that Farver, whom he would never see again, was not the woman for him. I'm thinking, wow, I dodged a bullet. But nothing could have been further from the truth. Over the next 4 years, Krupa became the target of a campaign of terror. He received more than 18,000 intimidating emails and some 50,000 texts from accounts associated with Farver. He also was deluged with phone calls and threats against his on-again, off-again lover, Shanna Liz Golyar, as well as his former partner, Amy Flora, and the 2 children they share. The harassment resulted in vandalism, burglary, arson, and a murder. Krupa moved out of state and changed his phone number and email address, but could not escape his stalker until police made a shocking arrest in 2016. Now Krupa is telling his story in the new Netflix documentary. "She ruined my life," he tells people, "as much as you can without actually killing me." So it turns out that it was Liz. Liz killed Carrie that day that he got the text, "Do you want to move in together?" And obviously took her phone and was texting him from her phone because she was jealous that he was seeing somebody else. And it was Liz pretending to be Carrie, this woman she killed, for years. She burned her own house down to get back with him. She killed her own pets. I mean, it's a horrifying story. Horrifying. And what are the police here waiting for? I mean, this woman broke into her own house and made it look like someone was there. She would put stuff on the wall that said, "Go away, whore," and rip up her own clothes and pretend, keyed her own car. This, what are we waiting for? We're waiting for Laura Owens to just snap and hurt somebody? I mean, the pattern here is very disturbing to me. So I don't want to hear anybody say she's not a danger to herself or other people. What? Where is your evidence for that? Where is your if she is not stopped, there is no telling what this will escalate into.
I think that's true.
Well, I don't know about someone else physical harm, but I think she could be a threat to herself. I mean, she has mentioned in the past about having suicidal ideations. But I don't know how recent those are. I mean, I definitely saw those in one of the emails to me, but
but I think the question is she actually having suicidal ideation, or is she understanding that by saying she's having suicidal ideation, there's going to be a win, right? Like she'll get attention, or you'll lay off, or you'll support her. People will take her seriously. I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't have suicidal ideation, but I'm saying that I think it would be different. I think if people in her life were worried that she was going to harm herself in some way, that would be something to take very seriously. Given that she seems extraordinarily manipulative, it's unclear whether her emails expressing suicidal ideation are designed to manipulate or are legitimate cries for help.
I agree with that. That's true. To me, it seems very manipulative. I don't believe, from what I've seen, that she is actually I don't think that she's telling the truth. However, do I believe that she is unbalanced enough to harm herself simply to get revenge on the people she thinks wronged her? Yes, I do. That woman in the documentary that I just talked about, she shot herself in the leg to set up her target's ex-wife. She blamed the ex-wife for she shot herself in the leg. It is absolutely possible to not be serious about self-harm, but also then self-harm in order to put the blame on others. And this situation, the way that, now I'm going to tell you this right now. Laura Owens yesterday released another Medium screed, and I'm not going to read a word of it because I'm on to you, Laura. I know what you want. You like the attention. You love hearing me read your words. You love hearing any of us read your words, your lies. And I'm not going to do it. You're not going to get me to do it. But in this new Medium screed, and please don't go read it. It's the only communication, the only way that she has to get her lies out there and spread her lies around and get more attention is for us to repeat them. And I'm done doing that. So Laura, you're not going to get anywhere with me there. But in her new Medium screed, she makes more threats against herself and is setting up Dave and Steve and Clayton to be the fall guys for what happens to her. It is sick. It is manipulative. And someone needs to stop her before she actually does something. Like, the police need to step in here. It's getting to the point that it's scary. We are not going to read it. I know you guys I know some of you want me to read it, but I also, public service announcement, those of you who are on Dave Neal's Patreon, I'm in there too. Those of you who are in there, I implore you, do not screen cap these things that she writes and put them in Dave's Patreon so he has to see them. Do not do that. Don't even tell him about it. Okay? Because, again, she posted this on Valentine's Day, when I'm sure Dave is trying to enjoy a day with his wife, his pregnant wife. And she continues to do these things on important days for her victims, to abuse them. So do not take part in her abuse by passing on her words of abuse to her victims. And Dave is definitely one of her victims. So consider his mental health and don't put that where he can see it. I think if anything is posted that his lawyer needs to see, I'll make sure that he gets it. But please, you're just passing on his abuse or her abuse. It's like she's still texting him or emailing him if you guys are putting this stuff in his chat, you know? So just don't, because I know how it feels to have this kind of stuff targeted at you, and Dave's had enough. Let's just help Dave to try to ignore some of this stuff, because what she is alleging and what she is trying to set him up for is truly horrific. Truly horrific. And it is what she wants. She wants him to see these terrible things that she has written. Alex P says, yes, thank you, Megan. I was in a publicized lawsuit, and it really upset me when my friends pelted me with articles. Yeah, we can't do that to him. So it has to stop. It's the same with Clayton. You know, don't show Clayton these things. Don't post it on Clayton's page. Don't tell him that these things are happening. If they need to know, their lawyers are going to alert them. Yeah, I agree that their lawyers should be contacting the police and asking these questions. Special Case says, should we be calling the police? It's interesting that you say that, because actually someone did. So I have an update on in the police history here. So this is a new thing that just happened. Let's look at, here we go. All right, so someone reached out to the Scottsdale police and they wrote this. Laura Michelle Owens, who lives in Maricopa County, made several statements under oath in court that she was pregnant with twins during a widely publicized case that she took to the media. 24 weeks later, and long after the 20-week deadline for calling it a miscarriage without fetal death certificates, during related court cases, she testified in court that she was still pregnant. More recently, she has claimed she is no longer pregnant with twins. No fetal death certificate has ever been produced, and she has been deliberately vague during family court proceedings as to how her pregnancy ended, despite the legally mandated requirement in Arizona for fetal death certificates. This is either a case of fraud, wherein she maliciously invented a pregnancy to gain leverage over an alleged but never proven father, or she was actually pregnant and illegally disposed of her alleged miscarried, actually stillborn twin babies long after the 20-week legally mandated cutoff and without death certificates. She continues to attempt to skirt the law by both claiming she was pregnant in ongoing court cases against the alleged father while also neglecting her duties under Arizona law to report the alleged death of her babies. Now, this was responded to by the police. Hello, I am the violent crime sergeant with the Scottsdale Police Department that was forwarded your email. I wanted to get in touch with you to see if you were looking for a response to your email or if you were providing the information for us to follow up. If you would like to talk, please let me know what your phone number is and the best time to call. And that was signed by Tony Galbraith, who's the Violent Crimes Unit 1 Sergeant. So now we know that the Scottsdale Police is well informed of what is happening here. If they do not investigate this and she acts and harms herself or someone else, I'm just telling you, Scottsdale, you're on the hook because you now know about this. And she should be treated the exact same way that you would treat a male who was engaging in these activities. So, yeah, they better do something about it. And there should be an investigation into what happened to the alleged babies. We don't believe there were any babies, but there is still a possibility that there were. And if she did something to them she should not have done, then she needs to be investigated for that. And they need to find out what happened. She keeps calling it a miscarriage. Her latest screed, she goes into that she had a miscarriage. You can't have a miscarriage after 20 weeks. At 24 to 26 weeks that she claimed she was pregnant when this happened, that is a stillborn. That is labor and delivery. Those are two bodies. So what happened to them? This should be a criminal investigation. This just makes me angry. Oh, shoot. I didn't write down where I was. Hold on. All right, let's see if we can catch up here to where we were.
Clayton's lawyers are arguing. Not only that, no, she was never pregnant by him. She was never pregnant to begin with. And, she just carried it out for 7 months. I don't understand, why. I don't know any sort of the legal ramifications of all this because there's so many things that have happened under oath that it's just like, God, it seems like she's done.
Oh, we're past there.
That's what it means. And so I think that was another indication that her threatening self-harm was probably not at that moment a legitimate threat, because if she was simultaneously saying I'm pregnant, those things don't add up in that way. And so in terms of answering your question, she's somebody who needs psychological help. And I think that is clear. I think your question was, does she need to be in some kind of an inpatient setting? I don't see evidence of that because frankly, she is functioning in the...
What a low bar. She's functioning. So she doesn't need to be locked away from the rest of us because she's functioning, because she can hire a lawyer. Like La Jourdain says, she's already hurt people, just not physically. Exactly. She's hurt people. She's hurt people deeply. It's financially, psychologically. Thanks for the super chat. Brianne Wilson says, I agree. If she isn't stopped now, one day she might actually hurt someone out of anger of being rejected. It's a really scary situation. And for those of you, I do love the super chats. Please do send them. It does help me see your comments if I miss them. Also, you can send to Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, which is running across the bottom of your screen. And the Cash App ones in particular go to pay my massage therapist who's helping me with my neck problems. So if you want to send Cash App, that's fun too, because that goes directly to her. All right. Let's continue here.
Way of, she's getting herself a lawyer, and she's, getting dressed and showering, and presumably is like riding horses. And
what a low bar. So she's functioning. She can ride a horse and take a shower. And so that means she doesn't need to be institutionalized. I don't, where does she come up with this? She's out there actively harming people. Who cares if she can take a shower? Is that the bar? If that's the bar, we're all screwed. No wonder this country is overrun by the mentally ill that keep killing people and doing terrible things.
Competing in horse shows or whatever. But I think sorry. But I think the other issue is that she probably finds all of this interaction rewarding. So she probably is enjoying the repeated court cases because it's frankly a way of keeping her connected to Clayton.
Yep. That's what I mean about her enjoying us reading her screeds, reading her lies. She's enjoying this. She is enjoying it. She wants the attention. It makes her feel important. And I actually think that's what all of this is about. It was never about wanting a relationship with Clayton or with Greg or with Mike or with any of her victims. I don't think she wants a relationship. She wants to control another person. She wants to control the contractor, the Uber driver. She wants to control and wield power over, and that's what makes her so dangerous, another person. And that gives her fuel. Now, I listen to H.G. Tudor, who claims to be a narcissistic psychopath. And he does analysis on people in the media who he believes are narcissistic psychopaths or one or the other, what type of narcissism, what type of psychopath. And his channel is very interesting. And I would like to encourage all of you to reach out to him, because if he gets enough emails about looking into a new case, he will. Here's his email. And ask him to analyze Laura Owens and look at this case. Narcissist1909@gmail.com. I would love for H.G. Tudor to take a look at this, because while this doctor will not say what she thinks is wrong with Laura Owens, I am not a psychologist, but I have been looking around and doing some reading myself. And my armchair theory is that she may be a psychopath. And a psychopath has some very interesting qualities, traits, right? In fact, let's look at what I've been really having fun with Bing's AI. It's very helpful in the Bing search. Let's get over there. All right. Let's pull up what Bing has to say. Feeling sorry for a psychopath can be risky due to several reasons. Let's explore this topic. Psychopathic traits. Psychopathy is characterized by a set of traits that distinguish it from other personality disorders. These traits include callousness, lack of empathy, and of diminished ability to feel emotions. Psychopaths often exhibit a low threshold for violence and may engage in harmful behaviors without remorse. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It involves both cognitive empathy, recognizing and understanding emotions, and emotional empathy, feeling shared emotions. Psychopaths typically struggle with empathy. While some may still feel empathy despite their disorder, many exhibit a lack of remorse for hurting others. However, recent studies challenge the notion that psychopaths are completely devoid of emotions like regret and disappointment. They can experience these feelings under certain circumstances. Psychopaths are masters of manipulation. They can hurt others while simultaneously eliciting sympathy from their victims. Now, don't you think it's strange that the victims in this case have repeatedly said how they feel sorry for her? You've heard Clayton Echard say it. You've heard now this doctor talking about it, feeling sorry for her, and Steve saying he feels sorry for her. And these are all victims of hers feeling sorry for her. They exploit compassion to their advantage, perpetuating harmful behavior. Psychopathy is linked to genetic traits and tends to produce more dangerous individuals compared to sociopathy. Some psychopaths are sadistic, deriving pleasure from causing harm, which I believe is what we see here. Deriving pleasure from causing harm. Their lack of remorse makes them particularly hazardous. Do you think Laura Owens has shown any remorse in this situation at all? None. Zero. Zip. She's harmed all these people, and instead of having any remorse, she continues to put the blame on them. The coping strategies is avoid feeling sorry. Remind yourself that psychopaths can harm others while manipulating sympathy. Guard against falling into their trap. Stay vigilant, recognizing the signs of psychopathy such as uncaring behavior, manipulation, and a history of harmful actions. Trust your instincts. If your gut tells you something is wrong, take it seriously and document patterns of behavior and protect yourself. Now, we have all kinds of documented patterns of behavior here. And I think that psychopathy is one possibility in this. Histrionic personality disorder, also another possibility, especially with the flowery wording and language that she uses. I think it's definitely it's a possibility that she has a personality disorder on top of possibly psychopathic behavior. And I really would like H.G. Tudor to analyze this situation. I think that he would do a great job at looking at, I think he would like this case. And so I would love it if you guys would reach out to him and see if he will do that, because somebody needs to give some answers on this. And I think he might be the right one to do it. All right, so here's another article that's really interesting. 9 clues that you might be dealing with a psychopath. Let's look at that. It's in Psychology Today. All right, let's see if we can get this a little bigger. Uncaring. The PCL describes psychopaths as being callous and showing a lack of empathy, traits that PPI describes as cold-heartedness. The criteria for dissocial personality disorder, a related diagnosis, include a callous unconcern for the feelings of others. I think we can absolutely see a lot of that in this case. Absolutely no care for the concerns or the feelings of the people that she is affecting negatively. Several lines of evidence point to biological grounding for the uncaring nature of a psychopath. Blah, blah, blah. Psychopaths are also not good at detecting fear in the faces of other people. That's interesting. The emotion of disgust also plays an important role in our ethical sense. We find certain types of unethical actions disgusting. This works to keep us from engaging in them and makes us express disapproval of them. But psychopaths have extremely high thresholds for disgust, as measured by their reactions when shown disgusting photos of mutilated faces and when exposed to foul odors. So weird. Shallow emotions. Psychopaths and to a degree sociopaths show a lack of emotion, especially social emotions such as shame, guilt, and embarrassment. I mean, you would be embarrassed if you got caught faking a pregnancy, wouldn't you? Yet there's no embarrassment or shame or guilt here. She's pushing all of it off onto it's everybody else's fault except mine. I'm the only one telling the truth. I have all this evidence that she has not shown to anyone, evidence that she has not produced. And she has no shame, guilt, or embarrassment about it at all. I mean, ugh. Let's see. Notorious for a lack of fear. Irresponsibility. Blame externalization. They blame others for things that are actually their fault. They may admit blame when forced into a corner, but these admissions are not accompanied by a sense of shame or remorse and have no power to change future behavior. Insincere speech, ranging from what the PCL describes as glibness and superficial charm to Cleckley's untruthfulness and insincerity to outright pathological lying. There is a trend toward devaluing speech itself among psychopaths by inflating and distorting it towards selfish ends. The criteria for APD include conning others for personal profit or pleasure. Wow, this is so on the nose. One concerned father of a young sociopathic woman said, "I can't understand the girl. No matter how hard I try, it's not that she seems bad or exactly that she means to do wrong. She can lie with the straightest face. And then after she's found in the most outlandish lies, she still seems perfectly easy in her own mind." The casual use of words may be attributable to what some researchers call a shallow sense of word meaning. Psychopaths do not show the differential brain response to emotional terms over neutral terms that other people do. They also have trouble understanding metaphors and abstract words. Overconfidence. The PCL describes sociopaths as possessing a grandiose sense of self-worth. See, this is the thing that bothered me about the Dr. Sanderson saying that she has a problem with self-esteem. I actually think that's not true. I think she has a grandiose opinion of herself. She believes she is worth that billionaires should be interested in her, that Olympians, rock stars, billionaires, and TV stars, that she's entitled to have them as lovers because she has a grandiose sense of herself, not low self-esteem. The opposite. Narrowing of attention. I don't know what her attention span is like, so we can't really see anything here. Selfishness. Cleckley spoke of his psychopaths showing pathologic egocentricity and incapacity for love, which is affirmed in the PPI's inclusion of egocentricity among its criteria. The PCL also mentions a parasitic lifestyle. Laura Owens doesn't have a job. She lives off of her parents. She lives in her parents' home. She does not work. She leads a parasitic lifestyle. Inability to plan for the future. Cleckley's psychopaths showed a failure to follow any life plan. According to the PCL, psychopaths have a lack of realistic long-term goals, while the PPI describes them as showing a carefree non-planness. Violence. The criteria for dissocial personality include a very low tolerance to frustration and a low threshold for discharge of aggression, including violence. The criteria for antisocial personality disorder include irritability and aggressiveness, as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. But we don't have any evidence that she's been involved in any physical fights or assaults. We don't know that yet. That would require people who've known her for a long time, perhaps a sister or someone who's been close to her, to talk about, if she's had these things. We don't know. But my God, there sure were a lot of them in there that sound pretty on the nose. And I think that that's a possibility. That's why I think we should reach out to H.G. Tudor and ask him to analyze her for psychopathy and possibly some sort of narcissism. I don't know. But I think that would be more reasonable than looking into low self-esteem. That is not it. I can say right now, that is not it. 1, 2, 3, not it. Crikey. All right, let's get to the super chats. Sarah Adams, thanks for the super chat, says these kind of people only escalate their behavior. Cynthia, thanks for the super chat, says BPD may be a little more on point, in my opinion. They can overlap with psychopathology, but BPD is more about attention seeking and fear of abandonment. I don't think Laura would physically hurt people. See, I just don't think that we know that. I think that she hasn't yet, but it concerns me that her escalating type of behavior and she's starting to get desperate. I don't know what that looks like for her. She's never been in this situation before where so many people know about what she's doing. She's operated under the radar. And so her past behavior can't really be a guide to what her future behavior will be. You could be right. It's definitely a possibility. You could be right. But I definitely think it's something. I mean, it's definitely something people should study for a long time and figure it out. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to the interview with Dr. Sanderson.
Which I think she finds rewarding.
Yeah, I think that's one of the questions that I've been asked a lot by people who have been following it either on Dave's channel or when I have talked about it. Everyone's kind of asked the same thing. What is her goal? What was her goal in all this? And I think in the beginning it was before we even knew about it publicly, it was to get Clayton to date her. But then in emails to me, once it became public, she's just constantly saying, I mean, I have the proof. I don't want to date Clayton. I have no interest in dating Clayton. Well, at that point, when she was telling me this, she didn't know it would blow up to what it was and we would ever see those emails.
I really don't think she wanted to date these people. I don't think she believes they will date her when she behaves like this. I think she enjoys and gets off on controlling them and terrorizing them. I think that provides her pleasure. It's sadistic in nature. I think she enjoys harming others. Just like there are people who enjoy harming animals and watching them suffer. I think she is like a person who pulls the wings off of a butterfly. She likes to do it. And it's hard for us to understand. It's hard for us to understand because we don't have that. But it is sadistic in nature, and there's no other explanation for why she continues to do the same thing, and she knows she's going to get the same result. She knows they're not going to fall in love with her. I don't think that's what this is about. I think it's about wanting to harm people, wanting to control and watch them suffer. She's getting off on the psychological harm, which is why it's important that you don't share her damaging words to her victims, that you don't put that out there and say, hey, Dave, look at this, because it's furthering her ends. You're meeting her goal. You're helping her in her sadism.
And they would become public where it was clear. Yes, you did. You wanted Clayton, and now you're doing this because he turned you down. I mean, clearly that seems to be it. But at that point when he had basically given up on her and he wasn't just he didn't believe her. He told her he didn't believe her. He told her, 100 times to leave her, to leave him alone. Then it becomes, okay, then what was her goal from that point forward? And that's where I just kind of scratched my head, because I don't know what it was, because she wasn't after his money at no point in any of these court proceedings.
Linux charms. Butterflies are scary mother effers. I can get why you'd murder them. I love butterflies. What do you mean?
Things have I seen her say, he needs to pay me this, other than, I guess she was insinuating if I have a baby, he needs to, pay child support, but we knew that he wasn't gonna have to do that. It wasn't money. And was it fame? I don't think it was any.
See, he's struggling so hard to come up with why would she do this. And Lois, thank you for the PayPal super chat. Says Laura is very dangerous. Yes, I agree. And I think that law enforcement so far has not taken it seriously. And I think that needs to change, because it's just unreal. Amanda, thank you so much for the super chat on Venmo. Hope the massage helps. Yeah, it does help, but it doesn't last. That's the problem. I need to get them more often. That's why I've dedicated the Cash App to the fund, because I need to do it more often. Maybe it'll help then. He's struggling here to understand what was why did she do this? And I think it's really hard for people who don't have these disorders to understand where this comes from, because normal people don't feel pleasure from hurting others. Normal people don't get a rush from hurting other people. And that's, I think, what's being missed in this conversation, is that the possibility hasn't even been brought up that she enjoys this. This is part of it. I mean, Dave Neal has nailed it on several. I agree with Dave. Dave believes this. He said on my show, it's sex toys and harming men, ruining the lives of men for her. That's what gets her off. This is what she likes to do. It is her hobby. It is her pastime. It is her life. Yeah, I mean, I see, Sarah, you're all saying attention, attention, attention. She loves attention. Yeah, she does. She loves attention. She likes this attention. Absolutely, which is why I am not going to read any more of anything she writes publicly. I will not read it, because it is manipulative, it is false, and it is sick. I'm not going to play that sick game. Not going to do that. And I'm certainly not going to add to the victimization of the people she targets. Definitely not. Because that's how I'm beginning to feel that this is. This is just a continuation of the abuse she's been heaping on the heads of her victims. And then for us to come on and repeat these things, these false allegations and wild things that she is saying, she's getting off on that. She likes that. She's tuning in. She's sitting there listening to every word. And I am not going to give her any of that. Absolutely not. I'm on to you. I'm on to you, Laura. I know what you want. You're not getting it here.
Sort of fame. Like, I just kind of scratched my head on what was going through her head during all this. What was she after?
Well, I think in her mind, she dated Clayton. I mean, I think in her mind, they had more of a relationship than they did. And you can see that in her emails of, I could make you a better man, or, right? I mean,
there is a possibility of delusion also, that like she really did convince herself that she's in a relationship with him. But I'm beginning to think that this is far more sadistic in nature than that. And that's just my opinion. That's my opinion.
Like this idea that she has in her mind a fantasy of what their relationship was or could have been. And so she is further along in terms of her perception of their relationship than is true. But I think right now she is finding this ongoing interaction rewarding because it's a way of keeping her connected to Clayton.
Yep.
And that's honestly, I mean, I hate to bring this back to my ex, but that was what my ex was doing to me. It was.
All right. So I'm going to let you guys listen to the rest of this on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. The link to it is in the description of this video. And so if you want to hear the rest of that, please go and download that and subscribe to Reality Steve's podcast. You know, he's been doing a lot of work on this case as well. Mauza says, please know the only reason I used that quote was because Dave has a clip of Reality Steve saying it on his channel. I wouldn't force it on him ever. Yeah. Which one? Did I miss another thing? Did I miss a different super chat from you? Unhung Hero, thanks to the super chat, says, it's like school shooters. Stop giving him fame and attention and there will be less incentive to pull stuff. Well, it's a double-edged sword in this case though, right? Because before we got involved and started putting a light on this, she was getting away with it. She was ruining the lives of these men. She's gone through maybe 5 of them at this point. We know of 3 for sure, and there's allegedly 2 others out there. And so this is it's a double-edged sword. We have to do some sort of reporting on it because the public needs to be aware of this danger and what's happening. But I think that there's a way to do it in where she doesn't get pleasure from it. And that is to keep on hammering the legal documents that were filed by Echard's attorney, what's going on in court, and, you know, seeing it through so that Clayton Echard gets justice, that Dave Neal gets justice. So, but I think that the right thing to do is to stop reading her messages to the world, to cut her off completely. Robin Richardson says, I don't know if you know this, but there's a petition to have her medium removed. That is correct. There is. There is a petition to have that removed. Let me show you where it is. So if you want to go and sign it, you can do that. Now, there's one thing that I think there's a problem with this in one way. It's just a tricky one for me, because the First Amendment demands that we're allowed to have free speech. And if it is defamatory, the legal remedy for that is to sue and take someone to court where a jury decides what is not legally defamatory. When this particular petition is asking Medium to remove her content because of its defamatory nature, but that's not in Medium's wheelhouse to decide. Yeah, I mean, right, free speech, well, you can lie. You absolutely can lie. And here's the thing. The way to stop someone from lying in print is you have to take them to court. So I don't think that Medium has a responsibility to take this down because they don't have the legal knowledge to know whether or not it is defamatory. That's for a court to decide. Now, you can sign the petition if you want to, and I'll show you where it is. Hang on. Let me see. 10 issues. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. It's on change.org. I also have a poor opinion of these petitions because I don't think they actually do anything. You know, a petition, you'd probably do better to just contact Medium and send them an email about it and just let them know that this is going on. But I don't think that Medium has any legal obligation to shut it down because they can't tell you whether or not it's defamatory. And free speech kind of demands that we're allowed to publish things, talk about things, whatever you want. And the consequence is, if it's false and you get sued and you lose, you're going to pay. But, they're asking for, this is on change.org. It says demand accountability, remove harassing articles, and suspend Laura Owens from Medium. I think if she gets sued for defamation and it's proven that it's defamatory, which we all believe that it is, then Medium would have the right to suspend her and take down these articles. But I think until then, I don't think they do. I don't think they can. This still is America, and you can lie in print. God, MSN does it every day. CNN does it every day. And until you get sued for defamation or libel or slander and win or lose that case, then, it stays up. This is really on Clayton. And you guys can go and sign this if you want. I don't think change.org petitions do anything. But I understand that there are people who really want to do something, and maybe they feel better by signing a petition. But I don't think that will work. Dorico says Medium removed Regina's response article to Laura Owens' cyberbullying article. I don't know about that response article. And if they are removing other people's articles but not hers, that's a problem. That's a problem. Chris Jenner, thanks for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Okay. So I'm just checking the chats to make sure I didn't miss anything. Elizabeth Marie says, this is very reminiscent of Lisa Noack. I don't know who that is, but maybe I should look it up. Paranoia, thanks for a super chat, says, your kid from Locals here, Mom. The petition wasn't me this time, I promised. Yeah, the last petition you did was for the Crumbly trial. And I did it. I told you I would, and I did. Okay, speaking of Locals, I am about to head over to Locals and record episode 4 of Fox Den Daily. Make sure you're subscribed to Fox Den Daily on all your podcast channels so that you can be updated on everything going on that interests me in the headlines and on LawTube and the LawTube adjacent channels. I have a couple of updates today on the case in Alaska, the murder case of Brian Smith in Alaska, and also a couple of clips from last night's shows that I was on. So that should be fun. And I'm going to go and do that live on Locals and probably for my YouTube members as well. So catch me over there. And thanks for being here today. And make sure that you, if you want to hear HG Tudor weigh in on this case, go and email him and let him know that this is going on. Maybe he doesn't know about it yet. And I think this would really be fascinating for him to look into. All right, guys, I'll see you over on meganfox.locals.com. Remember, sign up, promo code Tonsil Twins, all caps, to get 2 free months when you sign up for a full year. See you later.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. Felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, a million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. No, I don't wanna No, I don't wanna say goodbye. this time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. In my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've seen
problem is he
Cameron
should
Johnny's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall what
and
he
some
went
holy
into,
water.
Mr.
And a
Judson,
cross,
as
a
far as
crucifix
asking
one.
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no, you
compel you.
No, I don't.
He
Sure,
realized his house
Echard,
was infested with
just after
succubuses.
that,
And
there's a picture you're looking of what it, yes. Do you recall while that was there
Succuloaders.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she-
No
was it
wonder he
really
said
remember?
drown her before you
No, I
burn
don't
her.
remember.
oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
now I know
Witness
why
for
he wanted to
Melanie
drown her.
Iglesias, and that
Next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.